what happened last time? Does anyone want to give us a quick recap? Because like always, I feel like we're at this point where we have some like very mundane things happening as we go like day by day and you're going through your daily events. There's a
But there's a
whole lot
lot
of
of it.
stuff going on. Yeah. Yeah. Who wants to
Like,
recap what
it's
happened last time?
nothing big and fancy happened, but a lot of not big and fancy things happened.
Everybody is missing for a few blocks. I remember that much.
Yeah, rich
Um,
people missing is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, while it would, in theory, make sense,
Okay, well,
it would in
I'm
theory.
looking for a bit of a quick synopsis of what happened last time.
Okay,
my issue is everything's bleeding together, and I'm having
yeah, that's
trouble
my
telling what
issue
session
too.
is which.
I guess you could say we started, um, we, well, we picked up our clothes at some point. Um, I, so I bought a cape, along with, or a cloak, along with my clothes. We went back to the docks to do more investigating.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get a whole lot of leads, but we did get the name of the owner of the warehouse who had the warehouse that had been stolen from Asher's goods.
Mm-hmm.
So so we tried to find him. We managed to find a guy who gave us general directions how to get there, and the dude is kind of arrogant prick and just luck. And so we went to investigate. The guard outside the gated community basically said, you know, you guys just gotta sign in and go. And we did. Did not seem to be any people around. Like, it was just all these rich people's houses were empty. They did have magic on their doors. Most people was just abjuration, so most likely alarm or arcane lock. However, the house of the dude we were trying to find had evocation magic on it. So, like, something that would damage you probably. And yeah, he's not home. It's a little sketchy. We decided we would go to bed and come back in the morning to check and see if he was home before getting our shit together for the party.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. You did follow some leads, went from the docks, met with Edmure, got the information, got the name Rodolfo Hem, who you learned was the warehouse owner. After visiting with Asher and Quentin again, yeah, you went to go take a look at the house, found that the place was what you believed to be trapped, I believe, and then met back up with the attendant, said we'll go check back tomorrow in the morning, see where things go.
Yeah.
The night passes.
The night passes, does it?
You'll return to the guild hall, make your way past Sylvie, go up the stairs and retire to your separate rooms.
Yep.
is there anything that you want to get done before we head off into the next day? Or are we just starting straight in the morning?
Um, I think that's it for me at least. I don't know if others have other ideas in mind.
I remember us starting to get up in the morning, but last time, but I don't remember if we actually did anything at all. I don't think we did.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm
Well,
honestly
I
having a
mean,
hard time remembering what the last thing we actually did was.
No worries. I
oh,
figured we just
it was
start it
the
from us getting up. So I just want to
Okay,
clarify
sure.
if there's anything y'all wanted to
yeah.
do. So we can get that out of the way. But if not,
No, I'm good.
you all can wake right on up. Now, the choice is yours. How do you want to start the day? Do you want to go straight off to the other side of town? Do you want to sit back, relax, and eat a bit? What's the plan? Like, what kind of rush do you feel?
I feel breakfast, obviously. Like, I definitely think breakfast is important.
Food
So,
first.
food first.
Okay.
So, food first. And, yeah, I mean, so the other thing is I also wanted to do a last minute stop and see if I could find like a nice-ish looking purse, because I considering
I'm sorry, you're breaking up quite a bit.
I don't have I'm sorry, so how much did you hear me say out of that?
Absolutely
Literally
nothing.
nothing.
That's unfortunate. Okay, so my priorities are breakfast. I did want to make a last minute stop at the Whispering Cat just for like a nice little purse, since I do not apparently have pockets in the cloak that I got. And I mean, and then, we got to go back and see if Rodolfo's home. But those are the only three things on my agenda um, for before the gala, but we have plenty of time for that at least.
Okay.
That's just me.
Anyone
I
else?
don't know.
Honestly, I just kind of want to prepare for the gala more than anything. And like I said, the back of Gale's mind, he wants to work on research, but it seems like that's just on hold until Agatha gets more stuff for him, right?
And after the gala.
Yep.
I mean, the gala's not until tonight, so we can definitely visit the palace, I think.
I mean, you guys don't necessarily have to come with me to go get a purse. Like, I can just run and grab that real quick and then meet back up, and then we can go see Rodolfo.
Sure.
Unless you guys, I mean, you can come with me if you like feel like it, or if you needed to get anything else while we're out.
I mean, it is a few hour long walk to like a couple hour long walk to the other side of town to the other district. And then Rodolfo's house is to the north of the like upper shopping district, so it's in roughly a similar area, if that changes
Oh, okay,
things.
so
Okay.
something we could do like on the way.
Right, because you need to
All right.
head up north from where you are,
Right,
across
okay.
the northern bridge off to the east, and then head south. You'll enter the upper residential district, and then a bit more south is the upper shopping district.
Gotcha. All right.
So if you wanted to
So-
try to visit Rodolfo's before going to the shop, it's on the way. It's like a slight detour from like
Yeah,
a straight
okay.
shot.
All right, so Rodolfo, well, breakfast first, Rodolfo second, purse third. I'm
I guess
good?
maybe we should just dress up.
Yeah, that's what I was planning. I mean, hey,
We'll do it
like,
after we eat so we don't mess
Oh, yeah,
ourselves
yeah,
up.
yeah. I mean, I was thinking, like, hey, we can flex on Rodolfo. Like, maybe he'll have like a better, like, opinion of us if that's how he meets us. I don't know.
It's definitely a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so you can enjoy your food and pig out as much as you want without fear of trying to like ruin any sort of nice clothes you have.
Yeah.
Make your way back
Roll
to
the
your
dexterity save not to spill the coffee on you.
you can go ahead
Wait,
and
the thing about the coffee though. So considering I have mending and shape water, I might be able to help with coffee stains.
You'd need prestidigitation for that.
Huh. Let me dig up mending.
I still have a few casts of those.
Right,
with the
like we
wand.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do still have the wands.
And I think I only used it once, which would mean I have 4 casts.
Something like that, yeah. So you all can finish your food, head back off to your individual rooms. I assume that you all take the clothes out of Sev's chest. You can divvy up everything between you all. And change into the idealized versions of yourself. I know we talked about this a little last time, but just go around and give a little description of how you all envision yourselves. Let's start it with Gale. What are you looking like for the day?
I'm trying to think of what it was. I was kind of wearing a brown suit, like 3-piece, with walking stick. Some either brass or bronze finery, just to kind of um trying to think of the wording is hard, just to kind of make it
Accessorize.
look more presentable. Accessorize, yeah. And yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. Did you have like? I think you had like a muted brown, muted green, like 3-piece suit. Looks all nice and fancy.
Yes.
All right. Really, what are you looking like?
I remember it being similar in style to Gale's, except for I have a like a black bow tie or something. No, what is it again? Forget. And also mine is burgundy in color.
It's burgundy. That's right. I believe it was the mascot, kind of like a kind of
Right,
frilly,
right.
kind of thick mascot right at the neck.
Right.
All right, sounds good. And Seb, what are you looking like?
I am looking like my perfect rich person impersonator self. Hair is all like well coiffed. Got my nice purple Victorian looking cocktail dress. I have my black it was velvet, right? The cloak.
Yes, it was velvet.
So I've got that. And in addition, I've got some of those long white silky satin gloves. And yeah, that's mostly it. I do have my tome as well as my small like mini bag of holding, and of course I have my my secondary arcane focus like strapped to me underneath my clothes, probably like tied around my leg like you would a dagger, just in any portion that there would be a lot of like looser fabric to cover it up, like the ruffly area.
Sure, yeah. So on that note, who wanted to try to take things with them to the galaxy. I think we were going over that a little bit ago.
Yeah. I mean, we decided Rayleigh just needs his acorn.
Right, I just need a gold acorn. I mean, it matches my color scheme anyway. It's a nice accentuating piece.
Yeah.
And if
Sure.
we need a weapon, I guess we could just raid the kitchen or something and get a knife or something.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the only one really trying to bring anything with them would be Sev.
Yeah, although I'm not bringing any like actual weapons. It's just
Right, but you're still
Nice.
trying to take items indiscriminately.
yeah.
So go ahead and give me a sleight of hand check.
Okay.
See how well you are at trying to get everything all bundled into place.
Okay. Please, dear Sithis, I need this. Oh god, that was so close to being a 2.
Okay, I mean, an 18 is okay. It's fine. You're pretty confident that you're able to like get it in some folds of the dress and you're not too concerned about it being found. You all can get dressed and come out of your rooms, take a look at each other, feeling quite snazzy in the meantime, and begin to make your way out. Now that you have fine clothes on, how do you want to travel? Do you intend to walk around? Do you intend to maybe like try and call a cart to drop you off at different places? What's the idea as you're heading outside?
What kind of transit system is there in the city? Do they have taxis?
So there
Or,
are
like,
there are a mix of like animal driven carts and carriages. There are essentially like taxi systems where you might see an empty car or carriage driver just looking through, driving around, navigating the horses through. If they see any passerbys, trying to flag them over, and they can try to ferry them over, cart them over to wherever they need to go. Or if
Okay.
you wanted to, you could just walk the entire distance all the way across. The choice is up to you.
I
So the
think
real
we might as well
question is-
spring for the cart personally, but
The real question is, are these carts pet friendly?
Yeah. That's a question.
That is a question.
I thought you were leaving Locke at the guild hall for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, we could, but we were gonna go over to the building, and if we needed to investigate, Locke would be handy, but I guess he would have a mouse.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
True.
true.
That is
So,
true.
I mean,
Locke is certainly superior in the categories of investigating, but the mouse
mean,
is
We've
easier
taken them in
to.
carts before, so we'll just
Yeah.
see how the drivers react.
Yeah.
right, I mean, if they don't like it, we'll be, like, right next to the guild hall, so whatever.
Right.
All right, so heading outside, trying to hail a cart then.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So as you make your way outside, after eating, it's roughly like 9 o'clock or so, still pretty early in the morning. You hear the clip-clop of hooves, you hear the rumble of carts and wood shifting, people just walking, going about their days, normal cry of the crowd. However, today is the 31st. Today is our Halloween adjacent holiday. As you make your way out of the guild hall, you did see various different like festive decorations in the spirit of spooks and spirits and ghouls and anything else that might come out at night. And as you step outside, you're greeted to a light fog that seems to have rolled into the city. It's not obscuring the vision too much, but it does make it a little difficult to see very far ahead of you. But as you take a look around, trying to peer through, you see that other shops, other houses in the block have set up their decorations as well. You see a couple like pumpkins set up beside houses and whatnot. You're able to easily enough try to hail down a cart. One begins to slowly make its way over to you. You hear the horse just neigh as it begins to stop. And the cart driver, an older, kind of gruff human, wearing like a newsy cap, essentially, just a look over on the side of the driver's seat. All right, destination.
Oh, we need to speak with, oh, his name was, oh god, I totally just blanked his name. We've been saying it all.
Rodolfo.
We need to, meet up with Rodolfo Hem up in the residential area.
I was also wondering if your cart is pet friendly or not, or if I should leave my partner over here alone. We probably won't need him today. He's a working dog.
Begins to reach over, pull out a sign from the other side of the cart, begins to like show it to you, point out no animals. Begins to place it back
Okay.
down on the side.
Let me just go and put him back up real quick. I go and walk back over to the pen.
Sure. Takes like 5 minutes to walk him there, get him all set up. He's just panting away, all happy as you walk back.
Yeah.
You all can climb aboard. He'll let you know. You give him like the general area of Rodolfo's house. It's going to be about 5 gold for the travel across. Get you there in about 30 minutes.
All right. Who's paying for? Are we all chipping in, or?
I'll just pay. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
owe you a Coke.
So you all can make your way over to Rodolfo's house. Off in the residential district. He'll drop you off at the same entryway that you had described to him prior, where you had met the high elf.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one
And
second.
he said he would still be there, today.
Yes, he did. However,
He's not there.
you make your way back to the hedge community, and you see a sign called Garden Springs in the northeast part of the upper residential district.
Mm-hmm.
You ride the car back the same route you took to get there last night. You find the entrance and see that a new attendant is on duty. They're a pale-skinned human, short brown hair and auburn eyes that look up your way with a bit of suspicion behind them.
Mm-hmm.
They look over. Hey, here's some new faces. Well, I don't think I've seen you in here before. What's, are you here for business or residence or...
We were here last night to visit Rodolfo, but he wasn't here, and there was a different person at this location where you are.
And, he had said that he would be here this morning, and expected to see us again. Is everything all right with him?
Begins to straighten up. What do you know about Rodolfo? What were you doing here last night?
We're with the guild, so, you know, he owns, a certain warehouse. Now,
we were investigating some thieves down at the dock for that have been stealing packages from warehouses, and since he owns one of them, we thought it would be good to actually talk with him to see what he knows.
Huh. And you said you came by last night.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And when we got there, it was like like everybody in the entire block had left and gone somewhere. It
We
was
thought it
weird.
was odd. So we figured we'd, leave and just try back again in the morning.
Was there anything weird you noticed? I take it he wasn't. You said no one was on the block. I take it he
No,
wasn't
Right.
very
home.
odd and silent, but
Y-
yes.
Yeah, out of force of habit, we did what we normally do for guild work and checked and see if anything weird was going on, and like there was a spell cast on his door, but I don't know why or what it was.
It was an evocation spell, um, meaning it was trapped in a way. I would expect that should there have been any intruders, they would have been um, in rather not good way, shall we say, which, certainly not something we were worried about ourselves, but it certainly was interesting that he was the only house on the block that had such a spell on his door, whereas the other houses had simple spells such as, alarm to let them know there was an intruder or an arcane locked door. Um, it the the evocation was the odd part.
Yeah. And did you let anyone know about this? Did you go tell anyone?
To be honest, we didn't know enough about the person to be 100% sure that he wasn't the person who cast it on it. So,
I see. I
This
see.
dude, this
Um,
dude's kind of sketching me out. I want to roll insight and see if there's like if he's
on the up and up.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyone interested?
Gale's
Go ahead, roll
going to,
inside.
I mean, he's not really paying attention to the conversation. He might be more scanning the surroundings just to make sure this isn't like some sort of weird trap or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go
that's
give me a
fair.
perception.
Sure.
With a 14 insight,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get anything off about this guy.
Dirty 20.
Rather,
Nice.
you feel that he's just... You feel there's something with hefty weight behind these questions and why he's so keenly interested. Perhaps out of concern. And Gale with a 20. You don't feel like you're being watched. You don't feel like you're being observed. You don't see anyone paying like any particular notice or attention to your group.
okay, well,
Okay.
since things have seemed a little bit more serious, I mean, we've said we're from the guild, but I'm not sure we've actually shown him our badge, so I'm just going to go ahead and show him mine.
That was gonna be my next. That was gonna be his next request to see if he could get some
Yeah,
identification from
I
Mel.
had already pulled.
Show
I
my-
already put, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to definitively say I have a signet ring from now on.
Sure, sure. You can show him your guild. God, I want to say memorabilia. That's not right, but your attire. He'll look it over. Okay, this is pretty legit. All right. Could you sign in to this book here? Begins to pull out a familiar looking book.
I immediately want to look at the two names that were above ours from the night before.
Yeah, I immediately want to check and make sure our signatures are actually in the book from the night before.
So he takes the book out, puts it right down in front of you, And as you reflect on the book that was displayed to you the previous night, it was a little dusty. There weren't a whole lot of like filled pages in it. This one looks brand new. This appears to be a different book. And as he flips it open, you see that your names are not there. There are probably like, I don't know, the table goes down like 20 or so slots. You see that like 17 of them already filled in, so you have to fill in your information and go on the next page to flip it over. And this is like halfway through the book, so this has definitely been used more than the previous has.
Yeah, so something is going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go ahead and sign in your names, rough time, reason for visit, same as before, and make your way past the entryway. He'll wave you off with a bit of a concerned wave, just shake his head and go back to his attendant duties.
Mm-hmm.
You can move on down the street until you begin to see a bit of a gathering to form on the road. You see a small crowd, roughly like 5 to 7 people, mostly human. There's one half-elf.
So this is like past the gate then after we've signed in?
Yes, this is past the gates. You're like heading down the different blocks towards where you know Rodolfo's house to be.
Okay.
And like around the block where you're gonna turn onto Rodolfo's house, on the corner, you see like a group of people all begin to talk amongst themselves, like murmur amongst themselves. Hear one say, "Oh, I can't believe we had an attack in our community." Another kind of like rougher voice, "Oh, I know. It's always been so pleasant here. Wonder what the old coot's up to." Hear a woman begin to speak up. "I heard he's been up to some shady business. Lending his storehouse out to undesirables. Have you heard of the attack down by the docks? He got whatever was coming to him, I say."
Oh, shit.
A few minutes pass by. The group begins to disperse, going back to their houses, walking down the block, as you can finally make your way around the corner. And Rodolfo's house comes into view.
Mm-hmm.
And
Any more gossipy hens talking?
there we go.
Is it a full house?
Okay. So I think this should be loading up for y'all.
This is gonna be the one that you designed yesterday. Yeah.
What? How did it roll? Don't worry about that. So, you arrive at the entrance to Rodolfo's house. You see a wooden deck set above trimmed hedges in a 2-story building made of stone and wood.
Mm-hmm.
And instantly, as you begin to approach, the lingering scent of charred wood hits your senses, and a burnt aroma just sticks in your nose. Make your way off the pavement and begin to ascend the steps onto the deck. And right before the door, you see a black scorch mark on the deck itself. The mark appears to be concentrated to one area right at the doorway. The surrounding walls, bell posts, and benches and awnings to your left and right appear to be in perfect condition. And notably, the window shutters now find themselves to be open.
Well, shit. Let's,
Oops. What y'all looking doing?
I mean,
So
if we
is
can
the
go
door
inside.
still there?
The door is still there. It's currently closed. There's like a large kind of like an arched like black iron door. One of those like real fancy doors that just like opens inwards. It doesn't appear to be damaged itself, but there is a black scorch mark, probably like 5 feet by 3 feet or so, right at the, like in the wood, like leading up to the door.
Right. Okay. So I say that we knock first of all.
Yeah.
Sure. Sounds good. Go ahead and either knock or there is like a little like attendant
Door
bell
knocker
off to the
thingies.
right that you can go ahead and ring.
Okay, we'll ring that then.
As you ring it, hear the bell begin to chime and go off. A couple seconds passes. You don't hear anything. A couple more seconds pass. You hear a little click behind the door as the doors begin to open inwards. And you see a woman, roughly in her mid-40s or so. She's got a human woman. She's got a sharp-pointed face and gentle blue eyes, some pink blush around her cheeks. Seems that there's been like a little bit of smear, as if something had like brushed across the blush, smeared a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Wears a black, like stereotypical maid's uniform, long black dress that stretches all the way down to the ankles, white, frilly, lacy apron on top. She looks out at all of you. Yes. Hello. This isn't the best
Morning.
time for us, unfortunately. What may I
Is
assist you with?
everything okay? Apologies. See, we is Rodolfo Hem available?
No, he's currently indisposed, unavailable at the moment. What
Oh,
could I assist you with?
We're with the guild, and we were trying to investigate something going on at the docks.
Yeah.
We tried to come by earlier, but nobody
He-
was around, so
The
we thought we'd
entire
come back this
block-
morning.
Yes. Everybody on this block seemed to be out for the evening, so we figured we would leave and come back in the morning to see if we could speak with him about whoever if there had been, items stolen from some of his warehouses, and some of the owners of the merchandise that got stolen had tasked us with tracking down the merchandise. And we figured we would go speak with the owner of the warehouse himself, which is why we were here. Do you know, is he all right? Did something happen?
Yes, it seems that there was a bit of an accident.
Accident.
As may be evident
Insight.
by the charred
Also insight.
floor. Right here. She motions down before you. Yeah, if you want to, go ahead. Give me an insight.
Insight, yeah.
Accident.
Yeah, right. The word accident is always.
Hey man, sometimes an accident's just an accident.
Nat 20.
I mean, to Sev, the accident is the accident. To Gale, like, oh dear, accidents happen. I mean, realistically though, like, Sev does have lots of accidents, and especially with evocation magic involved.
Right, you accidentally cast a spell on a door, and then you forget you trapped the door, and you open it up like nothing happened. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably something Sev's done at some point.
Yeah, so, Sev, you're thinking, that's a little funny. And then she directs you down to the charred floor and thinking, well,
Mhm.
there is always the possibility that maybe they didn't know. It's true.
Yeah.
But Gale, you're right up on her. You see exactly what's going on. And you notice that her face winces a bit too much. She seems to have a more personal connection than what she's leading on, you think? And as you're, like, taking a look up and down, up and down, up and down, what's your passive perception?
Give me a sec. Let's see. Passive perception is 14.
14? Okay. Yeah, as you're thinking, just trying to find anything to, like, find some sort of clue to link together, you notice at the very bottom of her skirt, near where the ankle is, there's a little part of it that's been singed.
Oh dear.
I guess I'll look at her dress and say, did you happen to get caught in the accident yourself? And I kind of point at the singe.
Oh dear.
She looks down, begins to shake out her skirt, and, like, brings a hand up to her mouth. Oh, goodness me. Stuff happened when I was making food this morning.
Oh, I want to roll insight
Yeah,
on
right. I
that.
don't need an insight check for that.
Insight, but I also want to roll general perception to see if she looks like she is in good shape. Like does she look like she's like does she look like she is low on HP, for lack of a better term? Like, see if she looks like she needs healing of any sorts. You
I'm
know
more
what?
concerned about, is she being watched right now? Did someone threaten her?
Either way, Sev don't see shit.
I'm just wondering if she's okay, because because you can get hurt cooking.
Yeah,
Love
so
it.
true.
So, Gale, as your... Did you give me a perception?
Sure.
Yeah, because you're trying to take
I
a look
thought you
around,
already
right?
did. Or was that for something else? No, I
18?
yeah, the 18.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
That just
Yeah.
happened. So, yeah, with an 18, as you take a look around, listening to her talking about what she was preparing this morning for food. Mentioning, like, I must have been so absent-minded from just the shock of finding him this morning. Take a look around. There are a couple folks, like, walking back and forth. Some are, like, out in their lawns. They give, like, a quick look over and then go back to their business. Not so much as it seems to be, like, eavesdropping or anything, but, like, this is, like, news. Like, this is something, too, that does not happen often. So they're just curious about, like, what's going on. Doesn't seem like they're intently watching for anything.
Right.
Seems like the coast is pretty clear.
Like all side eye.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
But so you all were here to investigate, try to look for any leads you might have. Do you think that what happened to Rodolfo might be linked to what you're looking for?
Where there's smoke, I kind of point at the singe. There's
It,
usually fire.
it is a
Yeah.
bit concerning that, you know, thieves stole from a warehouse he owned, and now he himself is being targeted. That does not bode well. Also,
Has
I, hmm?
has anyone in the household been personally threatened?
Um, no, it's just Rodolfo, myself, and the missus, who reside here. Um, to my knowledge, no one's been threatened, I don't believe.
Hmm.
But if,
Well,
if you'd like, do come in. If there's any way that I could help and offer assistance, I would
Okay.
be delighted to.
appreciated, yes.
She'll invite you in, open the doors a bit more so you all can make your way through, and lead you to a door off to the right. Get you in just so you can see what's going on. And come on. Forgive me as I go through my notes. You're greeted to a large foyer, and the scent of fresh pine fills the air as you notice a glossy sheen over the wooden floor. A chandelier is hung in the center of the room. You see 5 doors connecting to the entryway. Through the open doors, you can see a dining hall, a kitchen, a living room, and a restroom. The interior is decorated in all manner of objects, ranging from 2 statues of figures that appear to be praying to your immediate left and right, as well as a few banners and paintings hung throughout the rest of the room, and a couple of odd-looking sconces holding blue stones. Off to the left around the corner is a set of stairs that leads upwards, and the servant will lead you off to the right into the living room and invites you all to take a seat.
Okay.
Okay.
And how rude of me. So I apologize. I'm a bit frazzled. I suppose.
Understandable, yeah.
I am Brienne. I am
Oh, yeah.
Brienne Werthers. Let
We should have
me.
introduced ourselves too. I'm Gale Runehearth.
Silverana Indora, you may call me Sev.
Rayleigh Elwood.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Let me put on some tea, and I will be right back, and we can discuss matters further. And she'll excuse herself from the room and begin to head off to the kitchen.
Alright, I am going to poof the mouse back in from the pocket dimension and instruct it to investigate the house, but avoid being seen.
Okay. Sounds good. I will get a mouse sometime. But it'll be around making its rounds. Go ahead and give me perception.
Okay.
What are you looking for? Like, are you looking for anything specific? Are you trying to smell for
Honestly,
anything? What's the goal?
I mean, maybe smelling anything that's charred would be like smell out for a person, maybe, to see if Rodolfo is
Okay, so like you're
injured
trying to
somewhere.
have it try to track down like any scent of a person, like charred remains or anything
Right.
like that. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, give me
Okay.
a perception then.
So, okay. Now, is this do I roll with my own perception, or am I doing flat roll?
Flat roll. This would be with the mouse's
Okay.
stats, and I believe it's just a
It's
D20.
just flat, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But with advantage because of smelly smell.
Double 17s though.
Yep.
All right,
Finally,
so
that mouse getting the job done.
you poof the mouse into existence. Scurries off down through through the entryway you were led through, and we will get to that as it makes its rounds and if it finds anything relevant.
Mm-hmm.
The living room itself, as you take a look around, you see that it appears to be very bare. You see that it's bare as if kept around only for presentation for guests. However, from the dust settled on the chessboard, on the coffee table, the ill-kept dusting routines on the couches and the table itself, the walls, the windowsill, you can gather that guests don't often find themselves invited to Rodolfo's house very often.
Yeah. Yeah, that checks out.
Is there anything you'd like to do while waiting, or just waiting for Brienne to come back?
Look around the room, see if anything interesting is here.
Yeah.
Sure.
I guess same.
As you take a look around, you honestly don't see a whole lot. There are 3 different couches in the room. There is like a large circular rug that's been set in the very center, and the coffee table slightly on top of it. So there is a half-finished game of chess on the chessboard, and everything's just kind of
course.
covered in a layer of dust.
Since I'm proficient with chess, can I look at it and see I don't know if there's anything I could find out from looking at a half-played chess, but I just want to see if I can glean if somebody had a major advantage over the other. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a straight int roll, and then we'll add your proficiency on top of that.
Cool. Okay. Can't see.
Okay. So is that
that's
21? So
Question. Is Gale familiar with chess? How popular is chess in this world?
oh, decently. Definitely
you mean,
decently.
The style of chess, or
the game of chess.
Yeah. I was wondering if it's only caught on with the aristocracy or something, or if me and Gale's understanding of it was, wow, nice horse.
I think Rayleigh's understanding would not be anywhere near as commonplace as most other folks coming from the Piddleglades, more of a swampy area, and it's more of your rural southern deep south area. Gale, though, Gale and Sev, coming from more urban backgrounds, would definitely be more familiar with the niceties of chess, at least.
I see.
It's definitely something I would have been into when I was at the academy.
So yeah, as you take a look at the chessboard, Sev, you see that Black was just about to win.
Okay.
It was a relatively quick game. They're about 8 moves in.
Yeah.
And most of White's pieces have been taken. The next move would have won.
Damn.
But for whatever reason, the game ended.
For whatever reason, indeed. Well, that's something to take note of. So Mousy has not found a crispy human.
Squeak, 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 squeak. Just making its rounds, still just trying to sniff out any sort of incense making its way room by room by room.
Yeah.
It's about this time that Brienne begins to arrive back. She's holding a platter of 4 cups. Begins to set the 3 different cups on the coffee table for you, and kind of shaking, trembling hands begins to set the platter on the coffee table and take the last cup for herself and sits down on one of the couches. Yes.
Perception check. Is her hand shaking just because balancing a plate is hard, or because she's stressed?
Give me an insight.
Insight. Yeah, me too.
Oh, insight. Sure. Let me.
Yep. Insight is more for trying to find the meaning behind things,
Okay.
namely bodily behavior or body motions and stuff like that. With an 8, with a 9, yeah, y'all are
I
thinking.
definitely observed that cup, but
I am going to put message into I'm going to individually message the others. Beware of this tea. Could be poison.
Gail's gonna digest that for a minute and just, carry on as normal and try not to, give away what he's feeling.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm gonna casually sip the tea anyway.
What's message's components? Because you are right out in the open, face to face with
I am
her.
looking. Oh.
Just so you're aware, if you were to do this, you would be actively conducting magic
Yeah,
in
I
her
guess I did. Okay.
Plus,
I
it
guess
does
I-
require you to whisper. It's just things to consider.
Okay.
Or really
I'm not
just
gonna do that.
down in the tea right away.
Right, yeah. I mean, regardless, I feel like in this particular situation, knowing what I know at this point, which isn't much of anything in this character right now, all we've had is a person who's stressed because she burned her leg cooking, as far as Rayleigh's concerned. And something has happened to the master of the house, but, I mean, he's had plenty of financial woes, so... We haven't gotten to anything more specific yet.
So with an 8 and 9 on your inside, trying to figure out what all is going on. Yeah, I mean, you come to the similar conclusions. You think it could either be the weight of the cups, just being a little bit too much all on the size of the platter she was carrying, uneven distribution of weights, or just that so much has happened and having to see her master in such a state, having to attend to him essentially, was just very traumatic.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to pretend to take a sip and then just kind of sit there and just wait for a moment.
Okay. As you go pretend to take a sip, really you're just chugging this all down. It tastes really, really nice. Very, very warm. It's kind of a nice, honey chamomile flavor to it. A little bit of lemon juice that's been squeezed in as a side. So it's not as... It's colder lemon juice. Kind of brings the sweetness of the honey down a little bit. Meshes very well together and cools it off kind of at the same time, so it's not just scorching hot. Very pleasant.
Yeah,
I feel like your throat's kind of been juiced up essentially. It goes down very easily.
Yeah.
So she begins to speak up. What information may I assist you with,
Well, did he have any enemies that you were aware of?
As many as someone like him would have. I know that he was rather involved in business affairs. I couldn't imagine someone stooping to such methods as this to settle their disputes, however.
Well,
Are you talking about the thieves stealing from a warehouse, or what happened to the floor?
No, just issues between various different businesses having, if I'll be honest, petty disputes between who owns what, who owns this, who owes what, exchanges of money. You know how it is.
Right, right. As far as what I'm wondering, is we've encountered the thieves once, and we're currently looking into a different case. Uh, has this been happening frequently? Because it's happened at least twice. So,
The thieves, you mean?
right,
I'll be honest, I don't keep up much with the day-to-day events that happen down at the warehouses of my master, but I even events going on in town elsewhere at the docks, in shops, markets, apart from what's been normal life for the past 30, 40 years, nothing out of the ordinary, but this, I don't know how to explain it. It feels different.
right. I mean that's completely fair. Um, could you go into that in more detail?
What specifically?
I mean, at this point, I don't really know what's going on at the house itself currently.
Oh, here?
Yes.
Well, I can tell you about the event I believe to have happened last night. Um, so I my quarters are upstairs, and I live on site with the master and the missus. I'm here normally every day, either attending to the daily duties or out in the market shopping for food or supplies, whatever we might need on the premise.
yes.
Yesterday I was given the day off for once. I don't often get days to spend to myself. So I decided to just take it easy. I went out to go have a drink with a couple of friends I hadn't seen in a few months. And I came back probably over midnight, I believe. And when I came up the steps, I just... Face begins just like scowl and wrinkle, trying to remember with like a look of disgust. There's just this charred, burning smell coming from up the stairs leading to the deck. And when I got up, I saw his body.
Oh goodness.
kind of keeled over. His one hand clenched in a fist, as if he was trying to reach for something. I did the best I could to try and clean up the scuff mark outside, but that is another deal entirely.
Right. So
Where
we
is
mentioned that we were here last night.
Yeah.
What time was it again?
we were here around 8ish last night, I believe.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it
by
was
that
between 8
time-
to 9. Yeah.
By that time, there wasn't anything that had gone wrong with the door or any smell of smoke at that point.
Everything
So,
looked entirely fine.
except for just there wasn't anyone around. So that means that something went. The attack happened between 8 and 12. Probably, but it did. Something was weird with the door though beforehand. But
Yes, we did notice there was some sort of evocation magic on it, which, are you familiar with the arcane art?
I've seen some local magicians perform some shows. I particularly like when they pull out the rabbit from the hats. But apart from that, I don't have much experience, no.
I can at least tell you that evocation magic tends to be elemental in nature, and you know, spells such as fireball, which is something that, we in the trade of the guild have to use when we get into incidents with trolls, shall we say.
You hear like a deep gasp as you mentioned trolls.
Yes, fire is very efficient for troll fighting, but it's in that sort of realm of magic. So the fact that there was some form of evocation magic on the door, see, we had assumed it was just an alarm system set by your household yourselves, and that Rodolfo would be able to disarm it upon arriving back home, so that he could enter his house, but the trap would keep it safe from outsiders. Now that's a bit concerning.
yeah, it
So-
seems like he's not that paranoid.
I mean, we do have there is a method of ensnarement on the door for trespassers. Those who don't have a key to get in, as the masters explained to me. I've never personally seen it at work, so I can't verify or really explain what exactly it is.
Does it have anything to do with fire?
No, nothing like that. It just, any would-be trespasser seems to just be caught, and ensnared by something, is what he
So that would
had
be
explained to me.
abjuration.
Probably a hold person spell or something.
Precisely. And you see, we saw plenty ordinary other traps on other houses, things similar to that you would expect to see on somebody's locked door. Bit concerning though that there was evocation.
Indeed, it sounds, oh goodness me, sound like this was targeted? That one of us was the target?
Right.
Where is his wife?
And if that was the attack, then it would mean that it would actually be before 8 o'clock last night, rather than between 8 and 12.
Could you repeat? I did not follow that.
Oh, I said if that was the attack, then it would mean that it would be before 8 o'clock or then between 8 and 12. Because the door already had the magic spell on it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I was out of the house around 5 o'clock or so when I went out to meet with my friends. So I'm not sure what time the master would have left. You see,
I'm gonna assume you use the door like normal.
yes. Like normal, all of us who live here have our own key, so that there's no worry of setting any ill effects, as you all were just talking about off.
Right.
As far as the missus, she's currently out of town on a trip. She's set to be back within the week, and honestly, I'm not sure what to tell her.
She's on a trip.
Any idea what his plans were yesterday when he gave you the day off?
And have you reported the death?
Thankfully, he's not dead.
Good.
He's he is indisposed at the moment.
We do have we may be able to help him.
Yeah, we do have healing potions and healing spells too.
Yeah,
So.
I can personally heal him myself if you'll permit me.
He's currently off with the priests in the temple here.
I see.
That
Okay,
was the
that'll be fine then.
The
You'll
first
be
place I tried to take him.
Understandable.
He's
Sorry, it's just the way you had expressed what happened to him. I thought he instantly died.
Yeah, it did sound
Pretty serious, yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure who you all were, and I didn't want to overshare. I'm sure you understand.
That's fair.
But yeah, that's about as much as I can remember from coming in this morning.
Any idea what he was reaching for? Like, is there something that could have put the fire out, or?
I don't know. I don't know if he was reaching for the bell pull, or perhaps for the door handle, and his hand just stayed in the same grip. I'm not entirely sure, unfortunately.
Can we see where he was at that point?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. She'll down the rest of her tea and put it down on the platter and lead you back out to the front entryway. Oops. Oh, come on. And there we go. So it's just outside here, right in front of the doorway. There is a black spot, roughly like 3 foot by 5 foot. That just seems to be like a centered zone for something that hit the floor.
I see.
And this is right where I found him. His feet were... It seems like he fell over forward. His feet were towards the stairs, head, hands reaching for close to the door.
Do you mind if we have a closer look around?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. If there's anything
Okay.
I can do to assist, let me know.
So, hang on, let me just get a look at the screen. So the way I'm looking at it, he was kind of pushed downstairs from what you're describing, Dale?
Her figuring is that he like fell over forwards, so like standing, like approaching the door, maybe like right there trying to reach for it, and then just falling forwards.
Okay. So he might have been clubbed over the head or something.
Yeah.
So you're saying that he wasn't here?
You
Where I
didn't clean
am.
up anything here, did you?
I tried to wipe down the spots on the wood that were just very, very charred and burnt. I couldn't
Right,
get
but no
much out.
objects were moved or anything.
No. There were no objects that were here. There were no miscellaneous items. Nothing that shouldn't belong here.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Maybe.
must ask, do you and the master play chess at all?
No. He's far too busy for that. And I don't have a mind much for the game.
And what about the mistress who's away at the moment?
She might, from time to time, but she's often out of the house on various different business trips, arranging different deals and whatever else she does for the business with the master.
All right. Interesting. Now, would you happen to know a dwarf by the name of Lesnor?
No, can't say the name rings a bell at all. Why do you ask?
Oh, I was just told he worked for the warehouse.
That would be something that the master would know more about. I'm not directly involved in the business. I don't tend to pry much into the personal affairs, or the business affairs, rather.
Understandable.
Anyway, I kind of want to get a closer look at where he tumbled over, just to see if there's any sort of clue we might have overlooked.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and would rolling for that be perception or investigation?
Probably investigation, I'd say.
So, before you roll, what are you trying to look for? Are you trying to look for physical remains? Or are you trying to look for any sort of like magical
Footprints for now. I'm gonna go for the mundane, and then I'll expand out to anything arcane.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So give me an investigation then. Perception is for like a general glance, just looking over at like a broad swath of things. And then investigation is for looking something more in depth.
Okay, so based on where she said that he was, it would seem like he was just reaching for a door, probably.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna double check.
Okay. What are you trying to check out exactly?
Me?
Just if the pose that she found him in would make sense for someone reaching for a door.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Fair.
I rolled a 6, so I'm not going to discover much.
And I only rolled a 9.
And Seth, what are you looking to do?
I mean, I guess I could just roll general perception, but I also want to roll Arcana and see if I can feel like what was up with the burning and the door and everything.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, go ahead, give me the Arcana.
Eh.
Okay, good. Oh, that was...
All right.
What are you trying
Not
to...
the best ones.
I was looking
I mean,
just
I
for the
was
Arcana.
doing- Oh, well then ignore the perception then.
Okay.
But the Arcana is 13.
Yep.
So
Gotcha.
Great.
Really? You try to
Yeah.
like fall over to where Brienne is. Roughly like 5 feet-ish from the door. And you go through the exact same motions as if you were to open the door. And then you stop kind of halfway there. And
Mhm.
then kind of like try to just get into like a similar position as she's explaining. And I mean, it does match as far as like you can tell that it feels like an organic position if you were just struck down. And if for whatever reason, like your body kept its tension up, you'd be in a very specific position that matches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we kind of determine how exactly he was struck, though? Or if he was tripped, or...
Gale, with your 9, as you're looking around at the floor trying to figure out where everything is, you notice that like right where Rayleigh's feet started, there are two very it seems like these are two very specific points that are where like the wood itself of the deck kind of breaks open, and then everything else kind of seems charred outward from there. And kind of piece it together that perhaps like these are where his feet were, and that he was the central point. Something happened to him, and he might have been like a conductor for something, as it spread onto the deck.
So he might have set off some sort of spell or trap or something.
Yeah.
And Seth, with your 13, you're trying to take a look around. It's sunny. Everyone else is talking, they're busy, they're out searching. You're just trying to figure out, get a feel for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You do get a feel for some sort of like residual energy coming off of
Okay.
the doors.
Okay. Can
As
I
you-
like in
Yeah, go give me an
Can I, like-
investigation.
Yeah. Please. I am I'm not rolling that great today.
Yeah. You see, looking specifically at the doors, on the back side of the doors, you see there are faint, what appear to be like chalk outlines. Most of it is faded. There's almost nothing left. But you see a couple of things that leave you with the thought that this could be the remnants of some sort of trap or setup.
So I want to like kind of copy down the remnants just so that I like have a visual reference.
Okay.
So just kind of like sketch it out on my notebook.
Yeah, sure. Easy enough. There really isn't a whole lot to go off of. If you're out of like all the possible spells and like combinations of spells that you could use to like transcribe and put it onto the door itself. They're break it down by like 20%, and there's still like an 80% pool that like these specific pairings could match to, but it's at least a start for something.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's something that like, you know, if we were to, you know, later down the line, if we were to like have access to like seeing evocation traps, like we could, you know, at least match up the fragments with possibilities.
Sure.
That's kind of what I was going for.
Okay. Yeah. That's easy enough to like try to get at least a little influence of something. Not a problem.
All right, well, this door was certainly trapped. There's not much of it left, but I can certainly do some more investigation. Once I get this all copied down. Now you said Rodolfo was with the priest.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Well, I suppose we could go check on him there. If there's nothing else you think would be important for us to know.
Well, we could always check upstairs. Just, I'm not sure if there are any like personal effects, perhaps that you might need to see. Anything that might help.
Well,
Okay.
yes, we could do that. I'm gonna take a step away from the computer for a sec. Gonna get a snap.
Okay. That's a shame, because I was gonna say that now is when the mouse comes back.
Okay.
Oh well. Yeah, so as you all are, God dang it, my mouse is doing this really weird thing where I'll left click once and it acts like I've done like 5 times. It's so annoying.
Seb's mouse is messing with your mouse. That's the only explanation.
Honestly, true. Are you back?
Yeah.
All right. So, Brienne will lead you through the. Could you please mute if you're going to rummage through
I'm not
things?
sure how. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do this with the voice chat. It's different. Oh shoot! God damn it.
It's at the bottom left of.
No, I did. Fuck. Sorry, all my like windows are flying around. Okay. There we go. Okay.
Thank you. So as you all, begin to follow her back in, she explains leads you around the different rooms. And she explains this is the living room. This is generally where we have guests that come by. Unfortunately, we haven't had many guests recently. This is the kitchen. This is where I generally will prepare the meals for the day. There is a cellar down below that leads to the outside. Generally where we unload any sort of deliveries and supplies and whatnot. Just beyond here we have the dining room. This is where we'll have our large meals for breakfast and dinner. And then upstairs are the living quarters. Off to the left here is the master's study. This is generally where he'll return from work and spend his spare time and whatever other personal musings he might have. Is there any place you think might be most beneficial first? Or should I just leave you to your devices?
I think Master Study sounds very useful.
All right.
Yes, let's go there.
Fantastic. She'll go ahead and lead the way. And you see that this is the only door in the area that's been locked, and she'll go ahead and open it. You all can make your way inside. There we go. And you find...
Ta-da.
Come on. You find that the door opens to a rather simple room. Off in one corner, you have a sturdy set oak desk with a mess of papers sprawled on top, and an open bottle of ink, a white feather quill resting on the left side of the desk.
Hold up, sorry. I have no idea how, but somehow my two windows with Beyond and Foundry like split into two separate windows instead of tabs.
Probably
so
drag them off each other.
I mean, I didn't do it on purpose. I was just trying to.
Just
Yes, I
try
will.
to drag them next to each other again.
Well, now it's lagging. Okay.
Okay, well, if it becomes an
Um,
issue, we will go from there.
Oh, wait. Ah, I got it. Okay. Alright. Good.
So you see that off in one corner you have the oak desk. There's a mess of papers on top, with an open bottle of ink and a white quill resting on the left side. Just behind the desk, hung on the wall, is a detailed portrait of a heavyset man wearing a top hat and monocle, clad in a dark blue Victorian frock coat. Behind the desk, moving towards the bottom half of the room, are two bookshelves. A singular, rather small book is set upon a podium right in front of the window, letting natural light wash over its pages.
What's the book?
Yeah.
Sure.
Look at the book.
As you look over to the book, you see it appears to be flipped over to a specific passage. And it seems that the book is a record of Hem's family history, tracing back roots of the family name through generations. You can see like a whole line of the family tree.
It's certainly a good thing
Hmm.
that we didn't bring Locke in here because he might accidentally tear up the book like in Man vs. Bee.
True.
Alright, so it's just like his family history. Okay. What about
Does Rudolfo have many relatives?
No. It seems that he's an only child. His family, dating back on the page for at least like 3 generations, all single children.
Okay, so I mean, it doesn't look like there would be any sort of like inheritance dispute or something.
No. If there was like any sort of issue with money, you think that it would probably go to either the wife's family of sorts, or one of the employees,
isn't
perhaps the
that
maid,
interesting?
or
Uh,
no like particular
Interesting.
family.
Right.
Very interesting that the wife has been out of town.
Sorry, what's her name is with us here?
Brienne, yes, waiting at the door,
Brienne.
just looking to be if she needs to be of service or dismissed.
I guess I'll just ask. Very interesting family history here. How long have the Mr. and Mrs. been together?
Oh, goodness me. I believe at least 20 years.
Okay, and there've been no real issues between the two of them?
Well, they have their occasional spats, here and there, but who doesn't?
Fair. I mean, of course not.
As far as I'm
Um,
aware, there's no major issue between them, if that's what you're asking.
Well, nothing hopefully resulting in money struggles or anything like that.
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay, I mean, you would have no reason to lie, and you kind of have, like, an intimate look into their lives, so, I mean, I believe you. Just trying to narrow down possibilities here.
I want to investigate the desk
Okay.
and like all the stuff that's on it.
I want to just scan around this corner of the room where all the bookshelves and everything are. See if any of this looks important, just because the book is laid out on a sun and it looks important.
Okay.
Almost like it's a quest marker.
All right. Sev, give me an investigation. Cool. Really? You take a look around, just trying to like scan through some of the books, see if there's any big deal. You kind of get the feeling that like after seeing nondescript title X on the shelf, there isn't a whole lot of interesting topics here in the like makeshift library. You get the feeling that like this book is out here in the sun because it's his family name, and like he might take a lot of pride in that, you'd gather.
Okay, so the book in the sun is the family, the list of, what is it, family history?
Yes, so the book that's like right beneath the window, having all the light flooding on it, is the one that's flipped open to the family name or family
Okay,
history.
got it.
Sev, you're looking to go through the desk.
Yeah.
Are you like just looking to go through the top portion? Do you want to go through drawers? What is there a specific section you're looking for?
I just kind of want to like, I mean, I want to look through any like papers or books that are there, and then yeah, try to see if there's anything in the drawer.
Okay.
Maybe see if there's any like hidden compartment.
Okay, sounds good. So as you begin rummaging through the chest, you see that the papers on top seem to be referring to ledger notes and account details of like a multitude of buildings. You see warehouse 17, you see warehouse 18, 19, 20, as if like he is the owner of like a large number of buildings together. You see that the papers denote payment schedules, salary amounts, and staff for several of the warehouses.
All right. Any names look familiar?
You see
those?
Perkins, Lesnor, and Rima, but nothing else that would look familiar to your eyes.
Okay. Anything in there about like the goods that were stolen?
No, this seems to be strictly to do with like monetary transactions and like the goings on of money specifically, not like stock or items or anything.
Okay. Anything else that I find?
So as you begin to clear off the desk, organize everything the way it was, you begin to go through the drawers. And as you rummage through the drawers, you don't find much value. The drawers themselves contain like blank scrolls and parchment, sealing wax, just normal desk items that you'd assume you'd find in a general study.
Yeah.
However, as you push some of the scrolls aside, in like the third drawer down, and this is like the first drawer is kind of thin, the second drawer is kind of thin, and the third drawer is like one of those like real deep drawers, you know?
Yeah.
You push a couple of the scrolls aside, and you find an elongated and somewhat crooked, twisty, rusted black iron key.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm gonna take the key out, and show it to Gale. Does this feel familiar to you?
Would I know?
Oh yeah.
Just
Oh yeah, you took a good look at the last key.
yeah, the key.
It looks very similar. Not perfectly identical. They're definitely like different cuts of metal. They're different, like they've been through different uses. This one's a bit more weathered and aged. But seems to serve the same purpose.
I nod.
Well, I feel like we should maybe hold on to this just.
May we borrow this?
To Brienne,
Yeah.
as she begins to step inside, see exactly what you are holding. Where did you find that?
Sev?
Oh, it was just in one of the drawers.
Here?
Yeah.
Was it missing?
What? It's normally the master keeps personal items locked upstairs.
Weird.
I don't know why it would be down here. But no. I believe it would be best for us to hold on to such personal items such as this. I apologize.
Right.
Begins to walk towards you, Galen, outstretch your arm to take the key back.
May we have a look upstairs where you said he would normally keep things like this?
Because if it's made its way down here and it normally wouldn't, then could someone have moved it? I mean,
That's-
clearly someone did, but
that is precisely what I'm worried of, unfortunately.
You think someone coerced him to collect something?
I certainly hope not. If that were the case, I was never aware.
Alright, let's have a look.
Okay. So you all can make your way out of the room and off to the left and head up the stairs to find yourselves on the second floor.
where's the second
There we
floor?
go. I'm bringing y'all there. Ah, come on. My mouse would work with me here. God. There we go. So, you see that Brienne is currently waiting for you near the stairs. And the wooden stairs creak under your weight as you begin to ascend to the second floor. You come to an open hall that leads to 3 doorways. Tables are set at the end of each hallway underneath windows, granting entrance to natural light flooding in.
I accidentally just went through this wall and now I can't get back out. I don't know what happened.
And you can head off to the right through the door.
Now it doesn't want me to use the door. Oh, okay.
You
Is the
just,
door locked?
you just closed it. No.
Okay. Well, no, it was open. Okay.
No, like I'm asking, does it look like it was forced open? Was it
Ah,
locked?
I thought I meant with the whole issue.
Yeah, not the not a technical thing. Like this is more of a story question.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, take a look at all the doors in the area. They appear to be fine. No signs of forced entry. Nothing looks jammed, crooked, scuffed. It looks perfectly natural.
Okay. So, where was it that you would think he would have kept this key?
Over in his room, off to the right here, and begins to show you to the master bedroom.
A little disheveled.
You see that there are 2 doors that open into a large room, and a messy bed rests against the center of the right wall, between 2 windows. A chest laid against the foot of the frame, and an end table sitting beneath a window, holding a blue book and a candelabra. Dresser's up against the far wall to the top of the room, and to the right of it, in a corner, is a tall, body-sized mirror. Along the bottom of the room, to the left, is a suit of armor hung upon a stand, while a shield emblazoned with the image of a golden cross is hung to the right. As you all step in, she'll point out, this chest here, this is where he tends to keep his personal effects.
Is it still locked?
She begins to motion down at what looks to be like an iron lock attached to the lid itself.
Is that the key for it, though?
No, from my understanding, this is the key for the warehouse.
Okay, Gale nods in confirmation. So maybe he needed more frequent access to it than what a locked chest would permit?
Perhaps. I don't believe him to be that kind of person.
Fair.
Right. The weird thing is that, let's say that he wasn't the one who took the key and he wasn't the one who put it in the drawer. Why would they return it?
Yeah.
Perhaps to fool any eyes not familiar with the situation?
Yeah, that's a good point, because the case that we're investigating currently, whoever got in the warehouse got in presumably either by picking the warehouse
key.
door, or using a key. And so we're wondering, how possible do you think it would have been for someone to break in here, take a key, go all the way to the warehouse, and come back without anybody noticing?
How far is the warehouse from here?
It is essentially like on the other side of town.
So
we're
unless they
in
had
the
some kind of teleportation spell, pretty impossible.
Right.
I mean, not impossible. It would certainly take a while, though. It takes
Someone
roughly
would have
like
noticed.
an hour and a half or so to like cross each district. I mean, at night, not a whole lot of traffic. Might take a little less time, especially if they're sprinting or running. But
That would draw all kinds of attention. Someone should have noticed. And also, why go to the trouble to return the key? That doesn't make sense. Especially after presumably someone mugged him for it or incapacitated him so that he could get in and out. Like, that doesn't add up.
yes, I do agree.
Well, do you have the key to open up this chest here so we could see, make sure that everything that's in there, that's supposed to be in there is?
I don't have a key on me. Let me see if the spare is still around. I hate to do this to all of you. Could you please step outside?
Sure,
Oh,
sure.
I understand
no
that you're
problem.
here to help, but I still want to keep up the master's wishes. I don't mean to
Right,
disturb
right.
his privacy.
Understandable.
As you all begin to leave the room, head down the hall, you hear her take a couple steps in the room. Her heels just clicking on the wood. You hear a drawer being opened. Trying to rummage around through something, closed. Another drawer opened, rummage around for something, closed. Another drawer opens. Ah, yes, there it is. Here, closed. Here, a couple steps back. All right, you all may come in now.
Okay.
Jumping in, you see this small, indiscriminate gray key. She hands to any of you to try and open the chest. Would any of you look to open
I
the...
guess I'll do it.
You can go ahead and take the key from her. Begin to get down on a knee and just try to get the key in the lock. And as you're reaching for the chest, you notice that go ahead and give me a perception check.
Everybody,
Let's see if
or
I actually
just
roll
really?
well.
Really?
Okay.
I actually rolled decently for the first time tonight.
Nice. Yeah. So you see that the box itself is made of dark wood, similar to the same cut of wood as the pillars of Dres Merlin's warehouse. You can see that there are that they're banded together by bronze strips. And as you try to open the chest, you realize that the lock is cracked. Ever so slightly. It's like a paper cut thin crack in the loop of the lock. And as you try to insert the key, you realize you can just swing the actual body of the lock open, and it splits. You can just slide the lock itself out.
It appears like someone broke this lock before we got here.
As you...
Not even sure you... Yeah.
As you say this, Brianna's just taking a look at all of you. Just... Oh, she puts on this horrified expression. And just shakes her head back and forth.
Is everything still inside that's supposed to be, at least?
Let's check. I mean, it would explain why the key was downstairs. It means that someone did break in here.
Certainly.
I mean,
So,
it doesn't
Alright.
look like the kind of thing you could just do by being clumsy.
No,
Especially
this
not
is
with a
very
good lock.
deliberate.
so are you plan on opening the chest then, just to check the contents?
Yeah,
Right,
look,
right. With her looking to make sure that... You know,
Sure. She'll look right over your shoulder, eyes of a hawk.
I want to keep an eye on her and her facial expressions and body language.
Okay. Give me an insight with advantage.
Okay.
I'll say just because you're
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
22.
Really, you open the chest, you flip the latch open, you slide the lid, and you find that there are that the chest opens to contain luxurious clothes and a few leather bags of coins. As you should prod for them just to figure out what it is, and they jingle in your hands. You see, or you hear Brian over your shoulder. Yes, I mean, this all seems to be correct. Could you hand me the bags of coin there? I want to
Sure,
make sure that
sure.
the same amount is inside.
Right. I'll hand her the bag.
She'll take it. Seb, you're watching like a hawk. Nothing seems strange or out of character to you. I can definitely tell that like her nervousness, like her apprehension and tension has certainly died down. But there most certainly is still a sense of dread and concern. They can gleam off of her.
Gotcha.
Brienne will open up the one bag by one, begin to flip through. We see a mixture of gold and silver begin to fit into her hands. So you're like slide it all back into the bag, begin counting the other. Hand it back to you, Braylee. Well, it seems everything here is accounted for.
Except for the key,
Eh,
obviously, but I mean,
except
we
for the
found
key.
it elsewhere.
Right.
Well,
I will have to find. I'll probably go get a new lock.
I'm wondering, if we could take a bit of a deeper look through the clothes, see if there's not other small items that may have been easily hidden.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is head back to the entrance and see if I could retrace this rogue or whoever's steps and see if I can figure out where he might have gone.
Okay.
Right now,
Okay.
I think it would be nice to if you can maybe even
actually, I have an idea.
I think you and I are thinking the same thing. What's your idea?
I become an animal with sensitive smell and see if I can pick up scents.
That's not what I was thinking, but that's also good. And speaking of animal picking
Oh.
up scent,
Yes. Yeah, I meant to do that when you got back from getting snacks.
Yeah.
Your mouse did come back. And you were able to it was able to sneak its way out of sight of Brienne. Nothing that it picked up on that seems out of place for a house. Like, there's definitely food being cooked. There's a bit of a like a particular scent in the kitchen that smelled kind of fabricy, as if like something had been left on fire for a little bit too long. But apart from that, nothing seemed off.
Wow, so she may have actually been telling the truth about burning her skirt cooking.
Lol.
Could be.
I'm
not here to confirm nor deny. I'm here to adjudicate.
Of course.
Am I lying? Am I telling the truth?
I mean, we're assuming you're telling the truth. It's lies by omission, if anything.
So, really, if you wouldn't mind searching for the smaller objects in the chest, Gale wanted to sort of retrace the steps of the criminal, and I thought I would give him a bit of a hand. So, we'll meet back up with you.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll return shortly. Let's go outside a minute.
Yes.
Okay. So the two of you can make your way out and then off through the stairs, going back to the first floor.
So once we're far enough away, I'm going to use message still just in case. Mouse smelled fabric in the kitchen, so she could have been telling the truth about burning her skirt cooking.
And I kind of whisper back, interesting. She also could have made it look like she was actually doing that when maybe she's part of this. Something about this just doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't. And now that I'm far enough away that it's just to her, because I'm not within her line of sight, but I'm close enough to where I know Rayleigh is to be able to send him a message that only he will hear.
Yeah, I mean,
Try?
message has like a decent amount of distance, right? So you don't need to be
Yeah.
like super nearby.
Right. I just need to know where he is, which I do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and shoot Rayleigh a message. Do try to keep her with you. We're going to check some things out.
I'll just say, okay, in my head, I guess.
Yeah.
Love it. We're splitting the party in the same goddamn house. Fantastic. Well, why don't we take a bit of a break? We're getting to the 2-hour points. We can take like a 5-minute break, get up, stretch, get some food. I'm going to run some ads while we get up and stretch and do stuff, and we will reconvene as you all split off.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
See you in a little bit, y'all.
Okey-dokey.
All right, friends, I'm going to run some ads real quick so we can try to get some of those ad breaks out of here in the meantime so y'all can just enjoy the content as we go along. I definitely recommend y'all to get up and stretch for a little bit. Staying seated for so long is not great. But yeah, we'll be back soon. Take care. See y'all soon. All right, I am back. All right, I am back.
Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. There's a hello. There's a YouTuber by the name of Dilandu, who kind of a small guy, but he does Let's Plays of various different point-and-click adventure games. I mean, I love them. That's a huge
Like
part.
Monkey
Like,
Island, stuff like that.
yeah, a lot of Sierra stuff, like Quest for Glory, King's Quest, Space Quest, Star Trek, a couple of Star Trek adventure games.
Put his name in Discord chat. I might want to check him out.
There's certain like accents that I can't do, but I can send you the link to his channel for sure.
Yeah, sure.
He's also done like a really good playthrough of the Mass Effect trilogy that I really enjoy watching. He's a Dutch YouTuber, and his accent, like, he speaks English very well, very fluently, but his accent comes through a lot. So it's always like he starts every video with "Welcome back," you know, like with his act. It's so good. He has like one of the most like heartwarming, like wholesome voices I have ever heard. And I love watching his stuff.
That's great.
For any of you who know Gopher for like the Skyrim modding stuff or Fallout modding stuff, kind of like a similar, like lower, just like very easy to listen to voice. So I made me some ramen in the meantime. Just waiting for it to
Nice.
cool down now. I feel like real cheap ramen, like not the 25-cent stuff, but like the 60 to 70-cent ramen cups, they're not terrible. Like they've gotten
Depends
a
on
lot
the
better.
one.
Yeah, but like I think overall, like they've gotten better.
Yeah,
They-
I
they
like
used
me
to be.
some instant miso. I'm not sure about ramen.
Yeah, I'm not big into the miso stuff, so I can't speak for that, but I'm sure like it's probably the same thing. Just the production's gotten that much better. All right. Well, are we all back? Are we all set to go?
Yeah, I'm just really mad because I was adding all 4 of my new hat designs onto my Facebook shop here, and I had all the info almost entirely done for all of them, and I accidentally swiped back on the page and completely lost all that.
That's how it be sometimes. Oh. I'm sorry for that. But on the bright side, let's roll some dice.
We're rolling dice.
So as we're making our way back, where are we feeling? Like, what's going on right now? I feel like y'all are kind of on edge at the moment. So let's go. I guess let's go in order on screen. Gale, how's Gale feeling?
Gale's fine. I mean, he finds this whole thing suspicious, but he also wants to be semi-aware of time because we don't want to be late for the gala either.
Right.
Fair enough. As far as like time goes, because I haven't really been keeping up on that. Took you about half an hour to get here, 9:30-ish. About 15 minutes, 20 minutes to get down. So you arrived at the house around 10 o'clock. Right now, I'd say it's probably 11:30, noon. Still got a decent amount of time left.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good.
But also, just to make sure that we're on the right track, we do want to suss out this woman in case she's in some kind of inside job with this.
Yeah.
Sure. What's leading you to that thought?
She could have been telling the truth about, burning herself in the kitchen, but she also could have
Done it on purpose.
done it on purpose to be a red herring.
Yeah.
But she's a blonde.
Dale, you're
Babe.
canceled.
Extra canceled.
My favorite
So
joke
Dale.
involving red herring is from a pup named Scooby-Doo, and how like Fred's rival is red herring. I thought it was fantastic. Chef's kiss. Anyways, besides the point.
You're really annoying. Like,
All right.
you are so annoying.
So, anything else about the current situation, or is that kind of just like where you're at the moment?
That's where I'm at, and
Cool.
I mean, I am considering transforming into a dog to kind of fill in for
Locke.
And see if I could, if one, I can smell something other than, her and maybe like another person versus maybe it's just her all along kind of thing.
Okay. Sure. Definitely something to keep in mind. Rayleigh, how are you feeling?
I mean, I have my suspicion that the key got moved downstairs because the key that was used to steal from the warehouse is probably that key, but I don't really have any proof from that case. It's just, it's the only key that we know of was moved at some point.
So just like the gut instinct.
Right. So I'm guessing the thief broke in here, stole the key from here, because I guess when you think about it, like, everybody else would typically be in pairs of people. They'd be around everybody all the time. At least here, there are probably times when this building has, like, only one person in it at a time, especially because the wife has been out.
I am very suspicious of the wife, like,
Sure, we will get there. Anything else you had in mind, really?
No, I think that's about it. I'm just focused on the key at the moment. Not much
Cool.
more.
Sounds good. And yeah, Sev, what are you thinking?
I am thinking about how they're. I guess I've kind of wavered back and forth, like thinking she's sketchy and then not thinking she's sketchy, and that's what bugs me, is that like my gut can't even decide on sketchy or not, and if my gut can't decide if someone's sketchy, like if it keeps flopping back and forth, there's gonna be more and more anxiety. So
So what I'm hearing is I made a fantastic NPC. That's all that I'm
I
hearing.
really need you to not let this shit go to your head, babe.
I don't mean it in that way, but like
No,
I'm glad it's giving you a lot to just like consider and think about.
Yeah, she's either playing dumb or she's actually dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way to put it.
That's funny. Fantastic. Anything else, Sev? Anything like immediately come to mind?
Nah.
All right. Well, let's we're currently on the second floor with Rayleigh, as Sev and Gale have both gone off to the first floor to go snoop around. Remind me, what were you two looking for?
We're gonna go to the kitchen.
Kitchen. Okay. And Rayleigh, you were looking to rummage through the contents of the chest just to make sure that nothing miscellaneous was placed inside that shouldn't be there, and were instructed to keep Brienne occupied.
Right. And the obvious way to do that is, after searching the contents of a chest, ask her to let me go through the contents of the drawers while she watches.
Yeah, that's a good one.
True. So go ahead and give me a plain old investigation.
Okay, give me a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And hit.
Well,
I'm gonna be possibly doing one of those two jobs.
It
Who knows?
looks-
Maybe because I suck at investigation, maybe it'll take me longer.
yeah, that's a good point.
That is true. You take so
Like,
long. You take everything out
so-
one by one meticulously, making sure not
And
to
then
like
you're
ruffle
"Wait, did I
anything
check
up.
This one already? Like, I think I should check this one again just because I don't remember if I checked it.
Right. I take forever and I learn nothing.
Okay.
While you're
yeah,
occupied for the next hour, whatever, like 20 minutes or so, let's swap off to Gale and Sev. You two
Hi.
are heading down to the floor below and heading off to the kitchen off to the northeast part of the house. Oh my gosh, mouse plays. Work with me here. Oh my god. How
Found the kitchen.
trying to get everyone over. There we go. So, you're able to make your way into the kitchen. This is where the mouse, Sev's mouse. Have you given the mouse a name, by the way? Have you said that?
I have not said that, but I have been thinking. I think I would like to call her Rain, but with an E at the end.
That is the exact name of my Thursday night Seder, but okay.
Oh, wow, that was not intentional at all. I was more so trying to like make a reference to fog, but okay.
But you're able to make your way over to the kitchen, and you see that it appears to be well stocked and organized. Scuff marks the floor, mostly concentrated in the center of the room. See that pots are fixed on the stovetop, boiling away, as you begin to notice a very overbearing, tomatoey presence. You spy food and drink along shelves around the room, and dishware resting on a shelf to the bottom of the room.
Wait, so food is still cooking, and nobody's in here to watch the food cooking?
Correct. It's like when you put glancing over, you see that there is like a pot with what smells like tomato soup or something similar,
Okay.
in like a very
So it's
tall
just
stock
simmering.
pot. Exactly.
Okay.
there any evidence of like a flare up of food?
Like a mess on the stovetop.
And something that would indicate her, like, singeing herself.
Go ahead, give me an investigation.
I would like to take a sample of the soup.
That's
Okay.
5.
Yeah, with the 5, you see soup. You see that like there are 2 burners. The soup pot is on the left. There's another bowl. I know there's something on it on the map right now, but there's another bowl on the burner, completely empty. And there's just like a couple of logs underneath the stove, ignited to power everything.
Yeah, I just want to like have get out an empty flask and like take a little sample of the soup, just in case like there's any sort of poison. I don't know. I'm just being
Are you
cautious.
Are you looking to eat it or just keep it on you?
No, just keep it on me.
Okay.
Like just put a little soup in the flask.
100%. This is exactly the scene from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess when you go to the Yeti's mansion and Link dips a bottle into the giant cauldron of soup. You probably don't understand the reference. For the folks who get the reference.
I do. I played a decent chunk of Twilight Princess. I just never finished it.
Yeah, I never finished it either.
That's a shame. It's one of my favorite Zeldas. But you're able to get the sample of soup. You can wipe off some of the like residue, or like the the bit that you had to scoop up.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem. You can. I assume you're gonna put it in your like small bag holding pouch.
Yes.
Yeah, easy enough.
I also why don't I want to find where the tea is kept.
The tea. Oh, okay. Give me an investigation.
Okay.
Okay.
Not bad.
With the 19.
Mm-hmm.
Through my notes. Okay. So, off to the top right of the room, right beneath a window and underneath a shelf, holding like bowls and other like assorted sacks, you see that there's a stack of crates. You see that one of the crates is open, and I'm trying to like take a look through. You see that there's a smaller box that holds various different kinds of tea bags.
Okay.
And then right behind you is the stairway leading down to the cellar. You can see like a lot of like foot traffic, like kind of like mud and dirt and other just like dust and debris coming from the stairway up top.
All right.
One more thing.
Yeah.
As they're taking a look around, and just like trying to meet up with Gale back towards the center of the room, out of the corner of your eye, you do catch a little something.
Oh.
right, if you can see where my cursor is, right between where the stove meets the wall, there's a little bit of like a crevice where pots and pans are being held up along the wall. You see a little strip of something black.
I would like to check out whatever that is.
Sure. You can easily, just on your way back, kind of just catch out your, go down, pick it up. Realize it's fabric.
Oh.
It seems as if like it's been cut off.
Oh,
And
does it look like the fabric from the key from the other day?
Does it look like her dress?
it does not look like the fabric from the key of the other day.
But it does look like the fabric from the dress.
As you take a look at the material, see that like this is, it's kind of like a loose triangle shape, kind of like a bell, I guess, right? Where like the outer parts like kind of like curve upwards. The bottom part appears to be like the hem of some sort of fabric, and it is completely fine. It could be some sort of fabric for an outfit, an ensemble, dress, skirt, something.
Weird. Well, I do want to take a sample of the tea as well.
Okay, just like lift one of the tea bags.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a 1d12.
Okay.
This is me just determining which type of tea you grab because you're just grabbing at random.
Yeah.
Okay, 6. Cool.
Is it jasmine tea? I love jasmine.
It is not jasmine tea. This is like, you go try to like smell it, you get a very fruity whiff. This could be like some sort of like berry blend.
Okay. Okay. Yum. All right, well, there's that. I guess we could try to sneak down to the cellar. I mean...
Sorry, what was the deal with this cloth thing?
It looks like it's fabric from a dress.
Okay, but does it look like her dress, though? Like, is it burned, or?
No.
It is not burned. It seems as if like it had been cut off of something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like it could be fabric. It could be from like her dress. It's a bit too plain to be like very descriptive, but the possibility is there.
That's fine.
But it was not burned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously going to pocket the fabric as well. So far I have taken a sample of soup, the piece of fabric, and a sample of tea.
Sounds good. If you want to go to the cellar, you all can make your way northward and take these stairs down. And then we'll bring you right into the subterranean floor.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm just unfolding the fourth piece of clothing for the fifth time, inspecting the same point that I've already inspected, not realizing that I've already done this.
You're just putting this like, you're taking all the items out, examining them, putting them back in, taking them all out again, examining them. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, this is the one that I checked like 3 items ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't realized that I've checked it yet. Despite it being like the 4th or 5th time that I've checked it.
Yeah?
That should have.
Being extra diligent.
Right. Except for my investigation skills suck.
Let's see here. I might have screwed something up.
It's seeming more and more like Locke is the brains of the operation.
Right?
Why can't I see? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where did it go? Why is it not here? Is it because of... Sorry, give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you not... Oh, good God. No, it says you're down there. So you should be able to see everything. Does that work? There we go. That's going to be something. All right. So you're down in the cellar here.
Mm-hmm.
Finally. Just to confirm, can y'all see everything fine?
Mm-hmm.
Should see like a small little gray area, lots of boxes and crates around.
The maid does not believe I
it's
can
fine.
see.
I can't. Oh, no, I can see. Okay, yeah. Good.
Okay. So you take the wooden stairs down to the subterranean level of the house and immediately feel a chill run through your body from the difference in temperature.
Love that.
Looking around, you spy a couple more of the blue sconces that are now illuminating the room in a ghostly blue light pulsing in and out. Through the light, you see a mess of sealed crates shoved beneath shelves that are all holding an array of items. Some crates appear to be open, revealing stock of food and other supplies.
Well, that's I suppose we should like make sure everything else looks normal.
Yeah. Does it look like anything was disturbed down here?
I mean, it does look very disturbed. It looks run through, as if like there are a lot of things that are kind of open haphazardly. Lids just on the sides of crates revealing like different bits of food, different bits of like supplies. It doesn't
Okay, but does it
seem...
look like someone was trying to ransack it to loot it, or because someone was making soup in the kitchen?
Yeah, that's a question.
I'd say either. It does not look neatly organized, right? It's kind of like a mix of like organized chaos, if you will.
Okay. So probably normal, but I guess all the same, let's look around for anything that might be unusual to be in a pantry.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's
Okay.
get some investigation.
Yeah, go ahead, get me some investigation if you want to go through something.
14.
Okay.
Oh!
Okay.
We love to see it.
Okay. How are you all going about your investigating? Like, are you like trying to
Visually
coordinate?
scanning at first, and if something catches my attention, I'll look at it closer.
Yeah,
Sure.
same thing, but I'm also trying to be Well, first I'm trying to be quiet so we don't draw attention from upstairs, but also just generally be careful.
Sure. But I assume like you kind of like delegate things, like you take one half, I'll take the other, etc., etc., and like try to break up
Right.
the work. Okay. So Gail, you can head off to like the eastern half, try to rummage through things, then Sev, you can take the western half.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you notice that off to the north end, there is there are metal rungs that are set into the stone wall. And as you like trail the rungs upwards, you see that they lead to what could be like trapdoors or some sort of wooden door up at the very top, roughly like 8-9 feet above you. Gale, as you make your way off towards the east end of the room, you pass some crates all sealed up that are covered by a tarp, and they all seem to be very, very dusty. You could like slide your hand across all the dust and buildup and just have it completely black by the time that like you just finish wiping it off.
Ugh. Yucky.
As you rummage through the open crates, however, you find more supplies after supplies. And you see like there's a jar of grape jam here, a jar of peach marmalade there, a couple more tea boxes here. You get some more like mundane general supplies, a couple of scrolls here, bottles of ink there. It seems to all just be very normal and check out. Sev, as you come across a couple more boxes and crates, you come across one that appears to just be filled with hay. You see that like the lid was on the side, already removed. It just seems to be filled with hay, but you're just trying to take a look through. And digging a bit deeper, you find a letter addressed to Rodolfo.
Oh boy. Here we go.
It reads,
What's it say?
"We know what you're hiding. We know your secrets. Leave the house for a few days and let us secure what is ours. If not, your life is forfeit."
Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, well, does it say who it was? Is it signed by anybody?
Not signed, some very like chicken scratchy, very hard
Like
to
someone
read.
cut letters of a magazine or something.
Similar idea, just like with actual ink, but like the letters are intentionally designed to like try not to imitate any one style of penmanship.
Yeah, okay, so that throws an idea I had out the window.
Which was what?
Maybe go back to the office and see if there was anything that had similar handwriting to it, but if it's deliberately scratched in a way
Yeah.
that...
Alright,
Also, we don't know who it's addressed to. Like, is it
Hmm.
Rodolfo
It-
was mentioned by name?
Yes, it was addressed to Rodolfo.
Okay, so it's not like they could have threatened her and maybe got her in on it. Okay, so maybe we should just tell her.
Okay.
Although
You know what?
let's keep searching. I mean,
Mhm.
this found its way here. Maybe there's more here that we could look for.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm
That's
trying to.
interesting.
Do another investigation check, see if there's anything else we could turn up.
Okay, yeah, I'd say that even rummaging, you can spend the next like 10-15 minutes or so rummaging through the crates and whatnot. You're not going to find anything else that's out of the ordinary, or something that shouldn't be here. You find a lot of supplies. You'll find like new goblets, new cups, maybe a couple like new plates in case something gets damaged. On the southern shelf, there's just like a whole like array of food. Some stuff that's been bottled up, some stuff that's just fine being down in like a very like dark, dank subterranean level where it's not going to go bad nearly as easily, but nothing else that seems to really catch your eye.
Maybe we should try the office again.
Oh, you meant the study upstairs?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. For some reason, I thought you meant the warehouse, like something at the warehouse, but okay.
No, yeah, the study.
Cool.
So I am going to quickly copy the letter on a piece of like notebook paper. Just copy it like word for word.
Okay.
And then keep the original, hide it in my small bag of holding.
Hide it in your bosom.
So are you trying to
Yes.
replace it?
I'm as in like I want to keep the real original letter on me hidden
Right.
and present like a fake one.
Ah, okay, so you're going to bring it with you to present to Brienne?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. Go ahead and make me your choice. Dexterity or performance for trying to forge the handwriting.
That's gonna be performance. You know what? That actually works out even better.
So here's the thing.
Hmm.
This was one of those instances where I was looking for a low roll.
Yeah.
As you set the parchment down, you're kind of doing like what old animators would do, right? With the different like cell drawings and like flipping back and forth, making sure that everything kind of lined up.
Yeah.
You get it pretty spot on. It's not perfect. It definitely looks newer, and it looks as if there is more intention behind it, if that makes any sense. It doesn't look as chaotic and messy as the original. It looks very designed and implemented. Like every stroke had purpose. But at a passing glance, looks pretty dang good.
Cool. I am gonna try to like get it back into the original. Wait, was there an envelope initially for the original one?
No envelope, just left open.
All right, then. This works.
All right. Is there anything else that you all would like to do down here?
If we found everything we need to find, then I think that's it.
Okay, so you all can begin heading up the stairs. And let's see if I can get y'all right.
I assume at this point I've annoyed her to a point where she's actually also kneeling down next to me and also going through it just to make it end quicker.
Yeah, so we're gonna be swapping off to you. And so here's the thing, right? You have done this like 5-6 times. Just taking everything out, looked through it, looked into the chest, looked at the stuff, shake all the stuff out, go like fold it nice and back, right back in. And like the 6th time, Brienne begins to like touch your shoulder. I think that's enough, dear. I don't believe that there's anything in there that shouldn't be here.
Oh my god.
Is there anything else that you're concerned about?
I mean...
Yeah, I mean...
are they like items that just have no purpose or wouldn't really catch Rayleigh's eye, or is it all just, personal effects like a fancy pen or something?
It is just clothes, maybe like a belt buckle or something ornate, and bags of money, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, speaking logically, if they cut the lock to this chest, then do you think they knew exactly where the key was? I'm talking to her. Or do you think they would have also rummaged through the chest over there? Would it be okay to just check and see if that's been messed with?
Well, if they... I have very good reason to believe that if they were to rummage with the dresser, they wouldn't have needed to cut the lock for the chest.
Oh, I see.
Hmm.
Do you mind if I check and see if there are any marks left underneath the bed, or any other place around this room, just to see if there's anything that looks like they left anything here?
Yes, I don't think that would be a problem. That should be fine, I suppose. Are you gonna look around the bed?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna see very much.
Oh no.
Yeah, but with a 7, unfortunately, it looks
Ouch.
pretty clean. You might get like a couple of dust bunnies that you're looking through. You're not sure if they're actually alive or sentient. Maybe it was just like the force of your motion coming by and they kind of skitter under the bed and then stop. But that's about it.
Write that down in the journal.
Roll initiative for dust bunnies.
Right.
But real talk, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the big comfy couch. Imagine taking on those dust bunnies. That'd be something.
Oh, that was a Canadian
no.
show. I'm
It
surprised
was.
you know about it.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's a
heck yeah.
Canadian show? I didn't know that.
Did
Yeah.
you know? Sorry to kind of break flow here, but one of my favorite facts is that Lunette, the girl who played Lunette, voices Claire from Resident Evil. I think it was Claire. It's either
disturbing.
Claire or Jill. I'm pretty sure it's Claire. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. What a transformation.
10-second tidy.
Anyways, carrying on. You find nothing of any intrinsic or substantial value, really.
I see. Do I hear anybody coming up the stairs or anything?
No, still have a little bit of time before the others are going to be making their way here.
Okay, I'm gonna check the mirror because I'm paranoid of mirrors now. After
mean,
one of the
yeah.
ones had a bunch of children in them.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I'll let you roll a new investigation.
Oh, new investigation. Okay, let me go ahead and do it.
Oh my god, really?
You're rolling some perception. Give me investigation.
Right.
God damn it.
Really?
Yeah.
What the hell?
I don't have a bow. It was clearly my lucky item.
Right?
I'm trying to give you a bow. A bow. That was terrible. I'm not very humorous.
Okay, that was awful.
You see your reflection. You see the room as it's supposed to be. This does not invoke any sort of familiar memories of other things.
Now, I'm noticing that this room actually goes into 2 separate rooms around here.
Mm-hmm. So off to the left, I will take you to what appears to be some sort of restroom. I can see that there's a toilet, a little shelf of toiletries and other items beside it. In the corner, there's a basin essentially, with a like a hook right above with like a towel.
Right.
And then off to the next room. If you click on the door, you can go ahead and open it. You'll come to another room. Brianna's just gonna be following you the entire time as you're
Right.
walking through.
I just wanted to do one quick last thing before meeting back upstairs. Can I have Rain sniff all of the tea bags for poison?
Sure. Go ahead and give me an investigation.
And I actually thought of something that's actually useful to check. Investigation.
Okay. We'll keep that
I'm
noted.
gonna check outside the windows
Okay.
just to see if there's any tracks left on any of the shingles outside, because
Sure.
reminder, these people like to be on roofs.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so I can see if there's like any forced entry or anything directly nearby.
right, because I
Okay.
mean, they were on the roofs at the warehouse. Those were like 2 stories up. I mean, we're on the second floor, but that wouldn't deter them.
Sure.
So
Sure.
there's no guarantee that they entered from the actual front door or anything. They could have just gone in through a window.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will keep that noted. But as you've been, well, let's say like you're checking every window, right? So we'll just keep that for every window going forward.
Right.
So far in the rooms you visited, you have not noticed anything off about the windows. They all seem fine, proper, locked, good to go. Oh, excuse me. As you make your way to a new room, Brian pipes up saying, "Oh, this is my room. These are my quarters. This is where I sleep for the night. It's not much, but I like it as it is." And you open the door to reveal a rather well-kept room. The table rests in the lower corner, and the bed is neatly made. A mirror rests in the top right corner, and a wardrobe is fit just beyond the door.
Well, once I make my way back upstairs, I'm assuming the mouse didn't smell anything.
I'm resolving that once we get back to you.
Okay.
Okay. So she was out for the night, so that wouldn't have mattered. And she also probably wouldn't have had anything important enough to be stolen from either. Nah, they wouldn't be that dumb. Okay. Yeah, so is it okay if I check out the windows here to see if there's any like footprints on the outside of this window?
Yeah, taking a look. I was including this room. Taking a look out, you don't see anything off. You don't see any sort of like marks or scuffs or streaks or anything. None of the shingles seem off. Everything seems pretty uniform.
Okay, I'm gonna ask her if there's any other windows I can check out outside this house, because the time that I encountered the thieves near the warehouse, they did tend to run on the roofs. So it'd be nice to see if there are any like shingles out of place or tracks left on the roofs. I mean, they seem to keep themselves pretty clean, but worth checking.
Well, we do have another room on this floor. It's not used very often anymore, unfortunately, but I can direct you there.
Okay, thanks.
So she's gonna lead you out through the bottom door, off through back into the like normal entryway hallway, and off to the southeast around the corner. Here you find another window. Take a look at it. Nothing looks off. You just see like a table, much like the others, with different like pots and vases. Just nice decorative items. They don't seem to, like, if the window had been opened or moved in any way, they were trying to get in, like they would have been knocked over by some sort of force. It checks out.
Right.
But she opens the next door for you, and from the amount of dust that opens just from the door opening, you see covered stacks of crates and empty dressers. It's apparent that the room is barely touched or kept up. It appears to be a guest room of sorts, complete with a small twin-sized bed and end table, but it is evident that guests have not stayed at the Ham household in a long while.
Okay.
And you can make your way in. There are 3 windows you can check out. You need to go one by one. Go to the left window, checks out, looks fine, looks normal. Go to the right window, checks out, looks fine, looks normal. You can go to the bottom window, checks out, looks fine, it's normal. And as you begin to walk back, you got an 11, right? 11.
Right.
Something in the back of your mind just says, there's gotta be something. And as you look back at the bottom window, you see that the latch to keep the like double, I don't know what the term for it's called. Like it's a window, like the size of a normal window, but it's got like 2 smaller panes that open outwards.
Right.
And you see that the latch is unlocked.
I see. So I'm gonna point that out to her while I'm here, and ask if this door is normally kept locked to this room, or I guess it wouldn't matter. The door is normally locked from the outside, not from the inside, or
Yeah.
from the inside, not from the outside. And just to mention that, I suppose if someone did intrude, they could have actually gotten in through here.
Yeah.
That does make sense. We don't often go in here much unless we need a spare broom or other item. I honestly couldn't tell you how long it's been since we've even been in here.
Right. And it's not normally a concern as to whether or not someone's going to climb through a second floor window or not.
True. Very true. Is this what you were looking for then? Any sort of sign of something?
Yeah, I was looking for any sign of a way that a person could get in the building that wouldn't be through the front door, because as you said, there's a snare, and I mean, they were able to climb up on top of the warehouses, so if they can do that, they can definitely climb up here.
Right. Well, perhaps we should let your friends know?
Right.
She'll
So,
begin to usher you out through the door and close it behind her. All right. If there's anything else that you need, I believe we've checked everything up here. Going back towards the master bedroom, and tries to, they're just gonna like yank the door closed there.
Right.
Just let us know, and then direct you down
Okay.
towards the hall. It's about this time, so that you meet as like Sev and Gale are beginning to ascend the stairs as Brienne and Rayleigh are making their way towards the stairs going down. You had
Something.
you had your mouse trying to pick up the tea.
Mm-hmm.
It smelled a whole lot of tea. It seems as like every packet was something different. Nothing that it would think is poisonous.
Okay.
or even like
Alright.
cause for concern.
Okay, just regular old tea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, regardless, go meet up with the others. Oh, we did find something.
Really? I found something too, actually. One of the windows upstairs was unlocked.
I found a rather threatening letter addressed to Rodolfo.
Really? I assume the maid, or what's her name again? I'm sorry, I'm so terrible with names.
Me
Brienne.
too.
Brienne?
Yeah, I assume she's right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Here, if you'd like to read it. And I'll hand it to them, and once again, I want to extra focus on Brienne's face to see if she reacts in any way to, like, if she notices that this is not the original. I want to see if, like, he gives any hint away that she's not the real letter.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an insight.
Yeah.
Oops.
Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad. So you were looking to see if there's any sort of recognition
Mm-hmm.
of the letter itself.
Mm-hmm. And the writing.
She does act odd as she's reading it. Almost as if she's taken it very personally. Begins to take kind of like shallow breaths. Begins to visibly perspire a bit more, similar to how she was when you first had met her.
Mm-hmm.
So your hand begin to shake and wobble back and forth. You don't think it's specifically because of the writing or familiarity, like being presented with something that she's familiar with, but something to do with the actual contents of the
Well, yeah.
letter itself.
Yeah, that's to be expected.
I don't know. I mean, out of game, now I'm kind of beginning to suspect maybe she and Rudolfo were having a fling or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only other thing I could think of.
Yeah.
Like, when you say personally, that's the only thing.
Right.
Like, this seems a little deeper than, you know, a concerned employee.
Yeah.
It is worth noting that her bedroom is directly connected to his through a passageway through a bathroom.
Ah,
The
yes.
wife is away all the time.
The good old poop and scoot. Love it.
Jesus.
The classic.
Oh my god. So, I take it you were unaware of this note.
Yes, I haven't seen this before. Was this new? Did you just find where did you find this?
We were in the cellar. There was this crate. It looked like there was only hay in it, but when you dug through, there was a letter. So.
See, she begins to kind of like, what's
If you
the
know
best way to describe it?
anything, but I mean, right now it's looking like he deliberately set up the robbery, and maybe he came back and forgot something.
Maybe.
Perhaps. I don't. You would have his key
Either
on
way,
him,
it
though.
seems like he came back and he wasn't supposed to be here if he was enacting some sort of plan.
I mean, if he wasn't the target, why would he?
He was
Not-
mentioned by name in this paper.
Out of game, was he mentioned by name in that paper? Because I don't
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
hearing his name.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
It was addressed to him. Rudolph, your life is forfeit if you blah 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 blah.
Somehow I remembered every single line except for his actual name being in the paper.
Yeah, she kind of like begins to crumple back towards the wall, kind of like arching over, and just begins to like slide down, sitting on the floor. Now I can hear like tears and her sniffling.
I guess I'll kneel next to her and apologize. Like, if you know anything, or if there's something you're hiding, now's the time to tell us.
I did have a question, regarding the rooms upstairs. This may seem a bit like prying, but, does his wife and he share the same bed when she's at home?
Not even responding verbally, just you get like a slow nod up and down.
Called it.
Right.
What? Did I misinterpret that? You're asking if the wife and guy sleep in the bed, right? Sleep in the same
Yeah.
bed, yeah?
They sleep in the same bed. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so she's confirming. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, baby, I misheard.
Yeah. All right.
Gale, could you make me a persuasion, please?
Persuasion? Oh, yeah, sure. My -1 charisma.
Good luck.
I believe.
Persuasion. Where the frick is it?
Should be down towards the
Oh,
bottom.
there it is. 10.
Carry on.
Wait, why does it say backs?
Oh, sorry.
That's funny.
I had his character sheet open anyway. I mean, it would have been the same
Oh.
result anyway,
Oh.
but like, I don't have charismat. Oh no, actually, it would have been worse.
Oh god.
Yeah, see, there you go, 9.
Wow. And it was even an 11 both times. Damn.
That's funny. All right, well, she's just continuing to kind of just like hunch over and cry. Little bit of time goes on. She begins to just use her sleeves to kind of like mop up the tears, and you begin to see like the same kind of blush is just like streaked once again. Some of it you can see like a little bit of like pink on the sleeve of her outfit. I apologize. I don't know what came over me.
Well, at the very least, he's still alive and presumably safe at the church.
Yes, I certainly hope so. But with some of this new evidence, I am a bit more concerned.
Well, perhaps we should go check on him where he is at right now.
Yes, perhaps that might be the best. All right. Well, would you all mind assisting me, and accompanying me down to the or up to the chapel?
That would be
Or-
fine.
We can do that.
We can do that. Just as long as we can leave at around, I guess, would 6 o'clock be enough time to get to the
yeah.
gala?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So
For
6 would
us-
probably be the latest you get there. For like an
remember,
hour and
I
a half.
still need to get a purse.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So a little bit earlier, probably like 5 o'clock. So we've got roughly 3 hours to kill. It would take
Okay,
maybe
we'll just
like
let her know that then.
sure. It would take like 30 minutes to get from here to the chapel up to the northern district. Probably a little bit longer. So at like the very end, so like 45 minutes. And then probably like an hour and a half to get back down. So
Okay.
yeah, you should be all set.
Okay.
So she will lead you all back downstairs, holding onto the rail for her life as she begins to kind of like stumble back and forth. You hear like her feet are dragging across the floor, just very slow. Can you please mute if
Oh,
you're going to be doing
sorry.
something?
Sorry, I thought I must have hit the. Oh,
Thank you. Yeah, feet just dragging slowly down the stairway. She'll lead you all to the foyer. Begin to collect a few items. Make sure that the door is locked. You see her produce from like a pocket in the apron a kind of like short, stubby silver key. As she kind of like shoos you all out, she'll close the doors together, insert the key, lock it. You hear a click. You can make your way off to the chapel. All right, so as you make your way out, you're greeted to the actual world around you now that like things were kind of silent, things were kind of dead inside the house. It was kind of chilling. And coming back out to just all the life and energy of the city, you see various different decorations and festivities. You see kids walking around, running through the blocks, like playing tag with each other and chasing each other and just having fun. And all that just kind of hits you, like just how different the world outside has been this entire time. It's roughly around, let's say, 2 o'clock. You spent probably like a good 4 hours here trying to comb through everything, talk with Brienne as you make your way down the blocks up to the northern district. Anything specific y'all want to do? Or are we just heading straight off to the chapel?
Go to the chapel.
sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So y'all can make your way over to the large blue building straight across from Oria's Rise, where you know all the like more government official buildings tend to be. As you there we go. As you make your way in through the doors, you see, like, you are greeted to like a fantastical, wondrous, large, enormous building. It's at least like a good 100-foot wide, even further lengthwise, extending back towards the Giant's Back Mountains behind it. You can see that there are all manner of kind of like, it seems that there is like one central room and several rooms branch off from the central room. Then there's probably like a good 3 to 4 floors. They can look just right above you, and you see like a very open foyer, just like banisters and hallways. You can see different members of the clergy walking back and forth, all wearing very official gowns and whatnot. A couple will take notice of you. Mm-hmm.
Is it somewhere I might be noticed and recognized?
As
You know.
as you are right now, it could be.
Shit. I'm gonna keep my hood up.
Okay, sure. So, a couple members of the church will notice you. You see them in like these like elongated white gowns. They have red, I don't know the proper terminology for the outfits, but they've got like the red kind of like mantelpiece that goes halfway down their body. You can see a very familiar symbol, the flame of Alisar, kind of like stitched in white to stand out from the red. They see that you're with Brienne, and they begin to back off, and they bow and wave her on. And she leads you through a couple of doors off to the left. And you see that there are like rows of essentially like a similar scene to that of like a hospital, right? Where you have the different like curtains and different cots with a number of people who are currently resting.
Maybe some nuns as nurses.
Mm-hmm, exactly. They all have like, not all, you see like attendants going back and forth. Some will have like metal containers with them that are like stitching and dressing wounds or whatever else they might need. Brienne leads you to the back, probably like 3 cots away from the very end of the room, and pulls back the curtain. And here you see a very familiar man. Well, not very familiar. You see a somewhat familiar man. Notice that before you lying on the cot is a rather like large, heavyset man. See, he's wearing a like dark, like frock coat on him, and he's just laying motionless, eyes closed on the cot.
Are the attendants around him very busy? Are people paying a lot of attention to him right now?
Not at the moment. Taking a look at him, you can see that like his hands, or rather his left hand, is very charred. It's like when you go and leave food on the grill for too long.
Oh, Jesus.
And it just kind of gets that nice, like real crispy char to it. Like everything on the inside's fine. But like to get any good flavor, you need to like chop off the dead charred skin.
I want to perform a medicine check on him if I can do it discreetly.
Yeah, you can try to like skirt the curtain back so you're enclosed. There's still gonna be like some slight silhouettes, but you're not like immediately under prying eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, give me medicine. What are you trying to look for?
9.
Is there anything specific you're trying to like address or verify or look for?
See how injured he is.
Mm.
And if there's anything I can do to potentially heal him up.
Okay. So as you're looking him over, you see that he's breathing as regular. You see that, well, first of all, he is breathing. The hand does look very, very injured. But you can see
Is
that
it
there...
anything that I could heal over?
Not that you think with any sort of like normal spell that you have at the moment.
Son of a bitch.
It seems to be a bit more severe than that, potentially like losing all purpose in that hand.
Like, Pete had to cut it off. That's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
But he does appear to be dressed. You can see like there's like some drops of water coming off of like a rag that's been placed on his head. He looks stable enough for now. In the back, you just hear Brienne just trying to like hold back tears and sniffling as you all are just.
I kind of turn to her and say,
Take an
I
eye.
apologize. I don't think there's anything I can do for his hand.
He just gives you a slow nod. I assumed as much. They said they'd be doing everything they could for him. So that it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just need to trust in Alisar and his light, and everything will be okay.
I guess he's still unresponsive. He's just asleep.
Yeah, he's motionless. There's just very slight, shallow breathing, but
I'm
What
gonna
was
try.
that? His hand again? I'm sorry.
it appeared to be like very charred. Like the outside layer of skin is just very kind of like ashy and crispy.
Right.
And it's just like it is locked in position, as if like all the
Like almost
muscles.
carbonized.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That must have been a very powerful spell.
Yeah. I want to try to use message on him. Are you awake? Can you talk to us?
I don't believe that will have any effects, but let me double check. Yeah, I must say that there's no response. There's no like subconscious response or indication that it's been heard.
Damn. All right. Well, unfortunate nothing be done for now. Sorry we couldn't be of more help, but hopefully we'll find culprits of whoever did this.
Yes. If you could, just make sure that they're treated with the same respect as my master was.
Oh, you can bet your ass. I'm sure of that.
Just give out a long sigh and begin to open the curtain back up and walk just outside of it, waiting for you to finish up whatever other business you would attend to.
Yeah, I mean, I personally do not want to be in here for a whole long time, so if everybody is good to go, we should go.
We can leave.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay. So you all can make your way out to the entrance. And Brian will stop and just take a look at all of you. I cannot overstate how appreciative I am of your efforts today. You really kind of came at the perfect time. Thank you. If there's anything else you need to know, you know where to find me. If not, I think I'd prefer a bit of.
Also, if any developments happen, don't hesitate to write to the guild and send for us.
Oh, yes, of course. If there's anything new, I will be sure to keep you updated.
All right. I think now we really have to take a carriage back to the museum, but do keep in touch.
And thank you very much. And don't forget to lock that window too.
Gives you the first
Maybe
laugh.
see if you can speak to the guard and have them patrol your neighborhood a bit more frequently.
Yeah.
Maybe around here.
Yes. It's not a terrible idea. I think I'll go right away. Thank you for the suggestion. I hope you enjoy whatever it is the rest of your day you end up doing. Take care, and I hope when we meet again, it's under much better circumstances.
Same to you. Be on our way. Cheers.
As you mention the card, as she's beginning to head off, she'll try to like flag something down for you all. The driver will roll up. You hear the clop of the horses, the spinning wheels just stop. She whispers something to the driver and then points at all of you. And you can see that she slips the driver a couple coins into his hands before she gives you a little wink
Pretty
and
fair.
nods back off, or walks back off.
Well, that's certainly nice.
You all can make your way over towards the driver. You see it's a halfling. His feet don't even reach the bottom of the driver's seat.
No, that's
He's
funny.
got kind of like tiny stubby little arms that it's hard for him to like even like look above the horse to see where he's going. He takes a look at all of you, just leans over. You see him like kind of like have to hoist himself off the side of the driver's side. Hey. All right, so way back they had told me you were trying to go down south. You got something to go to?
We do need to go to the museum, but we also need to stop off at the what is it? The
Whispering Cat
The Whispering
Boutique.
Cat. Yeah.
Okay, so we're making two stops then?
Right.
Yes.
How?
The first one won't take very long.
Okay. We're talking like 5 minutes?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right, that should be fine. Get in. I'll hop back over onto the driver's seat. You hear a little poof as he lands. You all can make your way onto the cart and begin to turn it around at the next nearest block, and you can make your way down to the Whispering Cat's boutique. He'll take you down to the shopping district. It takes a fair bit of time now that it's getting a bit later. People are starting to get busy, but you can head off, say like 45 minutes with traffic down through. You can enter in the shop. You see River off to the side, right beside the door behind the counter. And she takes a look off. Hello? Was there anything more we could assist you with? I thought all your items...
Oh, yes, they're wonderful. It's just one thing I had completely forgotten about. See, I'm used to having pockets in my cloaks. Rather, this is a formal occasion, so I'm going to need a small handbag that will go well enough with my the rest of my ensemble.
A small handbag? Is there any purpose? Are you looking for something to simply hold in the hand? Are you looking for something to strap across the shoulder? Are you looking for something on one shoulder, something across the other? What are we talking about here?
Something small-ish across the shoulder is probably fine.
Okay.
Simple crossbody bag would do perfectly fine.
Gale thinks to himself, probably something that could easily accommodate a knife.
She'll mull it over for a little while. Kind of mutter to herself. All right, darling, hold on just one sec. I believe we have an item that might work with your whole color scheme here. Begins to go to the back. Not up towards like the loft, but towards like the back end of the shop, like straight down from the counter. So there's a whole number of bags and items, ranging from like purses to like clutches to actual like bags, like larger, like outdoorsy, all-terrain, heavier bags.
Yeah.
She comes back with a small-ish purse. It's not, the strap isn't very long. Like carrying it on one shoulder, it comes down to like mid abdomen. But like it's enough for like just, you want to carry something like on your shoulder, still look presentable and stylish. It's what's currently, she'll explain like it's what's currently in. Same color scheme. It's got some gold to match like the decal on your cloak, as well as the same kind of dark velvety material.
Oh, this looks nice. How much for it?
This will come to 3 gold.
I can do that.
All right, she'll take the 3 gold, slide the purse forward, and deposit it into a box underneath the counter. Oh, we appreciate all of your patronage. All of you look so fantastic. I hope you have a wonderful time tonight.
Oh, you
Thank you
as
for
well.
all of your help.
You have a good rest of your evening.
Oh, thank you. Take care. Should we gonna wave you off? All right. So that was like 2 minutes. Your driver is still outside, and you can just load up right back onto the cart, and he will take off towards the museum.
All right. That
And
works. I'll go ahead and put my mini bag of holding in the purse and be good to go there.
Okay, sure.
Bag in a bag.
Bag in a bag.
And as the clip-clopping begins to head off into the distance, you make your way past the shopping districts, in through the large stone walls that block off the entertainment district, beginning to hear some of the waves of the water from the docks to the southwest roll through an echo through the cliffside. We will pick up there next time. This is a perfect stopping point for us to finally take on the gala next week.
Yay, gala.
All right. I appreciate y'all joining me tonight. It is a fantastic time, as always. Hope you enjoyed and had fun, and I'll see y'all next week.
Bye, Dale.
See y'all next week, or actually in 30 seconds.
Bye. Enjoy your night, y'all.
Bye.